Scott, and I really appreciate you bringing up these very important details that I highly doubt we will hear anything about from the January 6th committee. You know, there's some very interesting facts that came out today, as a matter of fact, reporting on the failure of this chamber, this Capitol to be secured. And I want to tell you something. On January 6th, I was a brand new member of Congress. And I want you to know,
How many days had you been here, Representative Greene?
January 3rd was my first day on the job.
So you've been here 3 days?
That's right,
okay.
3 days.
All right.
And I looked at the Capitol and thought this was the most secure building that I could possibly be in at least in this city, possibly in the country, because it's our nation's capital. And tragically, we found out it was not. And I was shocked by that. What amazes me is the
Hey everyone, today we're diving into Marjorie Taylor Greene's jaw-dropping speech that left Congress speechless and earned her a standing ovation. First up, MTG didn't hold back on Capitol security failures. She blasted Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Mayor Muriel Bowser for denying National Guard requests on January 6th. Yep, you heard that right. Despite knowing the threat level, the House and Senate Sergeants-at-Arms under Pelosi and Schumer rejected the request. MTG took aim at the January 6th committee next.
Overwhelming amount of evidence that the National Guard was requested to be here, and it was continuously turned down. And the biggest shocker to me is that there's three people that turned it down. It was Chuck Schumer in the Senate, Nancy Pelosi in the House, and Mayor Muriel Bowser.
If I could interject for just a moment, who's in charge of security here in the House of Representatives?
The Sergeant-at-Arms, and that would be
Nancy
Pelosi.
Right.
Nancy Pelosi.
The Speaker.
The Speaker of the House is the one in charge of the House Sergeant-at-Arms. And the House Sergeant-at-Arms and the Senate Sergeant-at-Arms turned down the request for the National Guard to keep all of us safe from the threats that they knew existed.
Are we going to find out if they got ordered to do that by the Speaker or by the leader in the Senate?
When
We're going to find that out tonight?
No, we will not hear that from the January 6th committee that has spent millions of taxpayer dollars supposedly investigating January 6th. I highly doubt we will hear that. But I want you to know that when we take back majority, these will be the investigations that we take on. Now, I want you to know some other things that really bother me as we've spoken about the failure and absolutely purposeful refusal to protect this Capitol by Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, Chuck Schumer, and Mayor Muriel Bowser. These are the failures. They did it on purpose. There's other things I don't think we'll hear about tonight, and I want to remind everyone. Number one, we still do not know who the pipe bomber is. Who is the person? There are videos everywhere. It's all over the FBI website. But we don't hear that coming out consistently from the January 6th committee.
She accused them of ignoring these leadership failures and not digging deep enough. But she didn't stop there. She called out the alleged mistreatment of over 800 detainees from January 6th, calling them political prisoners and slamming their lack of due process. And it gets more intense. MTG questioned why Ray Epps, seen encouraging people to enter the Capitol, hasn't been arrested. She also pointed fingers at the scaffolding commander who urged people to storm the Capitol yet remains uninvestigated. She brought up the...
You know what else we don't hear enough about? We do not understand what is happening to the over 800 people who have been arrested and charged for the events on January 6th. We don't know what is happening to them, and there are dozens of them right here in this city wasting away in the D.C. jail, being treated like political prisoners of war. And you know what? This is before they have been convicted of anything. They are there pre-trial, and no one cares about them. No one on this January 6th committee dares to ask a question, what is happening to these people and why their due process rights are being so flagrantly and horrifically violated pre-trial. Pre-trial, they are sitting in that jail. Do you know they have begged to go to Guantanamo Bay because they think terrorists are treated better than they are treated there. But no one cares about them. These people have been arrested and charged, and they're wasting in jail. You want to know something else that we're probably not going to hear about? What about the fact that there's a man named Ray Epps? Do you know who's not in the D.C. jail? Ray Epps. Ray Epps is not in the D.C. jail. And I know because I went in the D.C. jail. I did not see him there. He also is on video over and over again telling people to go in the Capitol.
Well, I'm sure we'll hear about Ray Epps this evening.
I don't think we're going to hear about Ray Epps. I don't think so. I don't think he's on the witness list. You know who else we probably won't hear about? The man on the scaffolding.
The tragic death of Roseanne Boylan in the Capitol tunnel, claiming she was dragged away from life-saving CPR. Heartbreaking, right? MTG then drew a stark comparison to the 2020 BLM protests, criticizing the lack of accountability for the violence and destruction. She slammed BLM's fundraising efforts for not helping rebuild affected communities. And she didn't forget Ashley Babbitt. MTG criticized the lack of accountability for the officer.
The so-called scaffolding commander that told the crowd, told them, sent them, gave them orders to go in the Capitol, storm the Capitol. I haven't heard about him being questioned. Have you?
No, I have not.
No. You want to know something else? Here's a woman we don't hear anything about. A woman named Roseanne Boylan that was trampled in the tunnel, trampled to death. We never hear anything about this woman. She died in the tunnel of this Capitol, and I saw the video myself when I was in the D.C. jail from one of the people being held there, pre-trial by the way, of her body being dragged across the floor, and then it was taken somewhere else. Do you know what happened when they were dragging her body away? They pulled her away from someone that was giving her CPR. She was pulled away from life-saving CPR. Why did that happen? Are we going to hear about that from the committee tonight? I doubt it. They don't care about Roseanne Boylan. Here's my major issue.
Who shot her, asserting that Babbitt was trying to stop the breach. In a bold call for transparency, MTG demanded the release of all January 6 surveillance footage, insisting the American public deserves an unedited account of events. Lastly, MTG accused the January 6 committee of pushing a politically motivated narrative to defame individuals, particularly former President Trump and his supporters. Wow, what a speech. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more updates. Thanks for